Hey, folks. All right. My phone just fell off the couch. I think.
We're
Great
rolling
way
for
to start
sure
the
now.
Podcast. Let me get that. Alrighty. What's up, folks?
Hey.
So as you can see, if you're watching, we're talking about joints today.
We are indeed.
We're going over some pre-rolls, and there's a lot of them. There's far too many for me to even comprehend.
But not too many to smoke.
No. Exactly. plenty to smoke.
Yep, absolutely.
Last week, we gave you a little rundown of gummies. Basics you need to know when you're shopping for gummies, especially if you haven't before. So we're kind of going to do the same thing this week, but with joints. Because there's way too many out there. 99% of them I feel like are a scam.
Yeah.
They claim to be full flower, which we'll get into that. Most of the time that's a lie.
Yeah.
And you're going to find a lot more bad joints than you'll probably find good ones.
Much
especially
more.
If you're put in our position where you have to test those joints
Yeah.
and decide whether or not they're good enough to carry in your store.
There are some up here that are not good enough to be at the store, but
Not in our personal opinion.
no, but I do remember for months us trying bad pre-rolls, trying to find one good enough to be in the store that you could sell for $5. There's a lot of crappy ones. There is.
Yes. Yeah. Because here's the thing. If your dispensary has a house pre-roll or a standard cheap pre-roll per se, it still can be good quality, believe it or not. It doesn't have to be garbage and, burn like a torch or just turn to ash immediately.
Yeah.
You can actually find some good ones just if you look.
Just let us do that. I mean, you might as well let us smoke all the crappy ones
Exactly.
for you, and then we'll tell you which ones we thought were good. But
yeah, we're willing to, sacrifice ourselves a little bit for the cause.
I actually remember smoking some year old Keef just to make a point. So.
Might as well. I mean, shoot.
Well,
so normally we'd start with just a good old, rolling up a joint sort of smoke sesh, but we're kind of covering joints
we're covering
today.
that today. And be honest. Now, we're bud tenders. We know that if we pack the flower in our own cone, we know what's in there. We're pretty good shape.
Even if it's bad flower, we know what's in there.
We know what's in there. But honestly, 9 times out of 10, I forget to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So there comes the pre-roll. So
exactly.
Well,
yeah,
so-
because that's the other thing, too. Sometimes you just don't want to take the time and effort to... You need something quick.
Yeah, we do. So where do we start on this whole thing?
Okay, I feel like it only makes sense to start at the bottom. Because if you start out with the best, then you're only going to be disappointed from there.
I'm going to agree with that one. I like that.
So we're going to start maybe with just, I don't know. What do you think? We've got a few different cheapy options.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. That one's not showing. It's
So
that one is a mystery joint.
okay, so
I don't know where that one came from, but it doesn't smell good.
all right, well, okay, that's a great place to start because I mean, let's be honest, most cheap pre-rolls are trim.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so trim is going to be your stems, your extra water leaf, your just crap.
And you can always smell when it's a trim pre-roll. Like
Yep.
if you pop open the tube and you smell it and it smells like, some people say tea, some people say hay. That's their nice way of saying it, but it just smells bad.
Smells
like dry grass.
Yeah, that's a great indicator. Probably won't let you open it, smell it in the dispensary, but they might.
No.
But they would be stupid to let you smell that. So.
Yeah,
but,
they won't sell it if they let you smell it.
But
hey.
you know something, we're gonna have to put that in our marketing.
Yeah.
So, but if you look at this thing, I mean, we've actually had some that they go, nope, it's all flower, and we get it in their stems sticking out of the pre-roll. So,
yeah, it's like how are you gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, our pre-rolls are all flower when there's a stem poking a hole through the paper?
even we don't do that when we
Okay.
make them by hand for us. So, well, so we're gonna like this thing and see. But I will say, looking at it, it's pretty even. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of hard places in it that are gonna.
And we'll also kind of show you what a joint burns like with and without a glass tip. We have both taken the liberty of cleaning our glass tips today to smoke with.
Really, that was just for you, because we don't normally do that clean.
No, they're not usually clean. They're just usually in use. So yeah, this is the first mystery joint. I'm going to pop open my Wynk today. My tummy's a little bit upset, and I think this would help. But, they're a little bit person-proof.
They are, too. Well, whatever it is, it's not horrific. Okay. So, now, she's much better about the whole how it burns and the ash stuff. I'm pretty good on the taste part. It doesn't taste horrible.
Okay. Yeah, so the ash is sticking together pretty good. Not too bad.
Now, we would tell you what this was if we had any idea.
But we don't.
We have no clue.
Now, this is a joint that, like, it didn't just come from a rando. It was one that I bought or, like, received as a sample or something. I just lost the tube somewhere in the mix, and we don't know what it is. So I figured start with a mystery joint.
We had no clue
You're in
on
for a
that.
ride.
So, while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get the Stewie Black. Oh, that's not Stewie.
Not Stewie.
No, that one we want to keep up there, actually. All right, so we look at Stewie, and let's look at this thing. It tells us 24%, and it tells us it's got pretty good terps for a pre-roll, 1.3, which seems high for a pre-roll for them. But, okay, and it says 1 gram of flour. Now, that does mean it could be anything. Any part of the flour, which includes trim. And it does say award-winning strain. So
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Whip.
Whip. I never could do that.
Cool Whip.
I could never do that at Stewie very well.
Cool Whip, I remember, was a good strain, so it might be a good pre-roll. This is just a really good example of
poor
tasteless marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is too.
So far, this joint is not burning the most even. It's canoeing just a tad. Nothing crazy, but I feel like the ash is pretty good on it. It doesn't have a pronounced taste, really. It just kind of tastes like weed. Yeah. Actually, I'm sorry. No, not weed. Grass.
Oh, very good distinction. It's one of those things, if you opened it up, smoked it, you're not going to be overly disappointed because it just tastes horrible, but it doesn't have any taste. I mean, when it comes down to it.
No, I'm not feeling anything from it yet.
Yeah, me either.
So there's that.
And honestly, we have found some really good creepers. I mean, you have too.
Yeah. So
this
since we are going to be trying a few, I think I'm good there, just in case it is a creeper.
I think so.
So, initial thoughts, I would give it, if we're ranking on a scale out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to be generous and say maybe like 3 or 4 for just a standard flour pre-roll. And supposedly full flour.
And honestly, it did. I didn't cough. I would have been disappointed, had I wanted to get high.
Yeah, because there's no effect to be found.
There was none of that to be found at all. So let's continue our search and see if we can find any buzz in any of these things.
Yeah.
So are you thinking Stewie, or you want to try?
I think we could go for a good old shake and bake.
All right. Yeah.
Do we? I don't know where I was going with that.
That's okay. You're time traveling. Maybe it had a little bit. No, that was the pregame.
Yeah, that was the pregame.
That was our pregame smoke. It wasn't the pre-roll. So, all right. This is the grow is Great Spirits. Where we work, we actually carry their flour on the shelf, so we knew the flour. And actually, these guys are still, I would say, using small buds. Probably they're not using trim at all. No. And they're not using shake, even though the name in it says shake and bake.
Another marketing, what's the word I'm looking for?
Faux pas?
Snafu.
I think
faux pas.
I
think it's faux pas.
Oh.
I think a faux pas is a different thing.
It depends where you grew up. Now, I grew up in Stillwater, so I think that's how they said it. I'm
just like
sure.
Waller,
Waller.
I also want to say, if you guys hear any mysterious rumbling in the background, that's my dog here snoring. I don't know if you can see him well in the video, but He's here. He's
He's
our
out,
podcast
too.
assistant today, and he's sleeping on the job, so I will have to dock his pay and write him up. But that's okay. He's not interrupting anything. He's just not living up to his assistant standards. That's okay.
I think he's doing pretty good. The snoring's not bad at all.
Handsome as ever.
On that, when we decided to grab the peanut butter truffle,
which is one of their new ones.
It is new, yeah.
I love a peanut butter strain. I don't know about you, but they're usually pretty good.
They're pretty darn good. 20%. So, and this terp's 0.66. That makes sense for a pre-roll. I mean,
yeah, it's a little bit on the lower side.
Lower side, right. So we look at the pre-roll. Looks like it's pretty well made.
How is it, like, packed super tight?
Nope.
Does it feel like pretty even?
No, see, I mean, actually, even the paper itself, it feels like we would have done it. So
yeah, it really does.
Now
it isn't a raw cone, so points docked for that. That's okay.
Yeah, that's right. We're not huge fans of raw cones, but they only probably bought 1 million of them, so they got to use them up. And it smells good. If I open that tube and compare it to the other one, I actually smell some flower. So, that's a bonus start right there. Now, we are really honest when we tell you that we went months and months of smoking really crappy pre-rolls trying to find. I know.
I'm comparing the two. This has that no offense to Cool Whip, but
we went months and months of smoking bad pre-rolls to find a good one that you could have for $5 in the store, and this is one of them right here. These we buy all the time because we're just too lazy to pack them. So,
cute. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Label. They've got a cute label. I like it. It's got the racing stripes vibe.
Initially, you taste flour. I'm not saying it's like she and I went and bought the flour, ground it up, and packed it ourselves. It would be probably higher testing. It probably tastes more like the flour, but it's straight up flour. So.
And the ash is good too. See.
And I will say this too. I mean, I smoke a lot by myself, and so I'm not going to sit and smoke that whole thing. They relight pretty well.
They do.
I don't have a problem with them. And the cheap ones, there's usually pockets in there because of all the trim, and relighting them is just impossible.
Ooh. Okay, can we talk about when you get a super cheap pre-roll and it blows up in your face like that old guy with the cigar, the old-timey one? Do you know the cartoon?
Yeah, I know that.
For real, if you get a cheap pre-roll, there might be some stem and some seed in there.
Yeah.
And it'll pop. Like, it'll spark and make a little snap, crackle, pop sound in your face. And if you're not careful, it'll light some stuff on fire.
The other thing it'll do, too, is that because of the trim and the pockets in there, sometimes that giant cherry that's on there, because it's not burning evenly, will fly off in your face, and that's just not a good idea.
That's not ideal, because you might get a burn on your face, or your floorboard might burn.
I actually know a guy that happened to, me, and and I couldn't find the cherry. And I looked down, and there was a hole about yay big, and I could see metal. So I'm pretty sure it burned down the bottom. So look at this burn.
I don't know if you can see on that, but there is a ring of, like, beautiful, like, resin, I don't know, oil coming off of the flower as it burns. And that's how you know it's good, well-cured flour, really, because that's all of that, like, it's all the concentration coming right out.
It is. And the funny thing is, generally, you only see that on good infused pre-rolls.
Yeah,
that's
you
really
don't
true.
You don't see that much
ones.
on a $5 flour pre-roll. Mm-mm. This one's burning pretty all right too. Just, like, I don't know, I've not had any issues really so far.
I feel it.
Yeah, definitely feel it.
Well, that's the first bonus. So the star rating went way up there because we actually got a buzz. That adds like 5 stars right away.
We might need to give it a few in between our next one to see how these two are piling up on each other.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be a good idea because the next ones are actually, well, They're infused.
They're infused.
I'm going to put this back
Put
in
it
the
lightly.
tube real quick.
Yeah, I'm feeling. Oh my goodness, Walker. I'm feeling great.
Walker's getting a little bit of second hand. I feel great.
I feel really nice after that peanut butter truffle.
It probably
definitely tasted good.
It tastes great. Still tastes good.
I don't remember us coughing. I mean, there may be some time travel happening, but I don't remember any coughing.
We didn't cough. That's pretty good. So, think about all the pre-rolls that we smoked to get to where we can actually sell that one.
Yeah, because that is our standard $5 store pre-roll.
Yeah, so you find a place to do it. Now, if the dispensary's honest with you, what a lot of these companies will do, I don't think them because we buy their flower, but they will be the hottest, best pre-roll on the market, and then they decide to make more money and start putting trim in it, and they go to hell. So,
and that's happened to a lot of our like old favorites from the more early days.
Yeah,
we relied on them. They were like a good, solid when you just need a good flower pre-roll.
Yeah, I sometimes would buy those over flower because they were good, but then boom, what happened?
And it was worth it for a while, and then after a certain amount of time, they get lazy. They start cutting corners and wanting to save money. And clearly, it is going to be a little bit more expensive to have a true flower pre-roll compared to a shake pre-roll because it just takes more work to pick out all the stems and the leaves. But it's so much more worth it because you'll build a good rapport with your customer base and with the people that are selling your product.
Yeah. So we spend another couple months smoking bad pre-rolls to find it, but there's a pretty good one. So
we have been there many times. I can't tell you how many bad pre-rolls we've been given samples of that it's like, oh yeah, we could sell this easily as a $5 pre-roll, but it's all flower. There's no trim, no shake.
Yeah. Well,
that's usually a lie.
I will tell you that works. I think I've been burning the candle at both ends. I know you have. And so that was pretty calming and
I felt like it was kind of what I needed today.
For work, actually, that would be very good.
Yeah.
Because no pain.
No pain. No. It kind of just turned the feeling in my body off.
We talk about what are we smoking about. People look at me and they go, yeah, the guy's old as hell. He must be an old timer. I bet he smoked weed, with Larry OG or something. I'm sorry, I couldn't help that. Honestly, I didn't start smoking again till about 3 years ago, and it was completely for anxiety and pain. Mm-hmm. And as much as we've been working, I got to a point yesterday I was having a hard time pointing, and I just don't have it today.
Yeah,
I mean. That's the difference right there.
Mm-hmm. It truly, last night was just hard. Like, it was just a hard night at work. We were very, very busy, and there was very little downtime to just breathe. Normally, we have little pockets of time to just, like, relax for a second. Take a breath, take a drink. Soothe your cotton throat.
Smoke some weed.
Smoke some weed.
Throat. Yeah.
But we had actually just put out that peanut butter truffle joint last night. It was a new one that we got in, and we put it out during my shift yesterday. And I chose that as like if we have any time to smoke, let's try this.
Yeah, that's it.
And it was exactly what I needed to carry me through all of that. Because even before I got to work, I was tired.
Yeah.
It's just been like a couple of weeks where I feel like I've been giving too much to other people. I haven't been saving enough energy for myself to recuperate. And I feel like yesterday was where I hit empty. Like, I was on E.
Yeah.
Just running on fumes, You
can only remanufacture that stuff for so long,
Yeah.
And the bad thing is in that position, too, is that I know for a fact that she and I have got a THC alarm that just goes off somewhere in that hour and a half. I don't know.
Yeah. It depends on the day.
Yeah. But that thing continues to ring even when you can't silence it. It it just keeps going off. And so if you're too busy, That's hard. That is very,
Yeah.
very hard. But this really helped. What are you doing there?
I am drinking on a little Wynk soda. It's a low milligram THC seltzer. You know, got one for you too.
Thank you. 5 milligrams. That sounds good.
Yeah. So last week, you know, we kind of talked about different doses. This is a really good option for just a low dose. It's just a lightly flavored seltzer. Oh, hey, there's 3.5 milligrams of CBD in here too.
3.5.
So that's going to be very, very nice very, very nice on the tummy. These are also a quick onset, so 10 to 15 minutes, they say. But I don't know, it's just something nice to kind of sip on while you're smoking.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little
like
good,
that.
a good smoking buddy.
We ought to talk about drinks one of these days.
Mhm.
It is. I will say though, you made a great point before we get back to pre-rolls. Is that for any edible, whether you drink it, take it as a pill, you eat it, chew it, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it says on the front. Look at that label on the back, because you're going to be surprised.
Yeah, when you see the true testing on a product, it's a lot of the time not what it's, you know, specifically targeted to be.
No, it's usually a lot of times higher.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a time in the past couple of weeks where I bought a pack of, it was a 200 milligram pack of gummies. So there were 10 in there. Each one was supposed to be 20. And I was shooting for about 60 milligrams. You know,
Yeah, good number.
I was shooting for a good, you know, buzz, good stone. And I popped 3 of them. And then I was just kind of looking at the package like you do. And I flipped it around to the back and saw the actual, like, metric label on there. And it said per dose
gummy,
or whatever, 33.3 milligrams.
So we just jumped to 100.
Yeah, literally went from 60 to 100 unknowingly. And that's something important to look at as a patient and as a bud tender.
Well,
but
yeah.
for people that have a more sensitive system, going from 60 to 100 might lead to like a hospital trip, like a full-blown panic attack.
People sitting out there watching, going, you know, I just had my first 5. And
Yeah.
she was shooting for 60, got 100.
Yeah.
That's kind of like
It's
in a
a bit of a
car going
jump.
from 60 to 100. I guarantee.
Yeah, it kind of
Joe,
feels like that too. You get a little bit of whiplash.
I do. I do want you to know that I instantly went and bought several of those packs, though, that were mysteriously 33, because those were very good.
Listen, it's fun if you know you're going into it with that dose.
If somebody gives you an edible and they don't tell you the milligrams, or I don't know, or just take it, I don't take it. I don't care. You know.
Truly, I think that's why I love like flower
Yeah,
and
me
joints so
too.
much, because it sets in pretty much right away. It goes away much quicker. So, you know, it's less risk.
I feel in control.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, because if you take a couple hits, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, yeah.
Maybe time to move on to the next one.
Yeah, and I just want to throw this in just because it's different.
Yeah.
We had a patient come in and was asking for a 1-to-1 CBD THC pre-roll. Much easier finding gummies, edibles, drinks.
Yeah, any
like
sort of
this.
concentrated version is a lot easier to find than flower.
I had never really seen a pre-roll that I could remember, and actually had a patient go out and do the searching for us. So we didn't have to do the work, and thank you so much. But this is actually from Davinci, and it's a 1-to-1 CBD THC, and it's got the strain is Bad Secret, and it's got 4% THC.
Bad Secret.
Bad Secret. So
I've never ever tried truthfully never tried a flower that's that high in CBD compared to the THC. Like, I've never tried a 1-to-1 flower or a full CBD flower.
I've never seen flower like that ever. And
Yeah.
4%.
I know it happens,
Look,
but it's not common.
No.
And look, it's got a blue filter on it. It's
Look
so
at it.
cute.
And it's pretty dang well made. It might be a little tight, but we gotta try it.
We gotta try it. No, it's so cool.
I'm not expecting to, but that's the cool thing. I don't know what I'm expecting.
It might be
you
a
know?
good like transition. You never know. I'm excited about it.
See, I think it was on episode 1 or 2. She was talking about her lighter and her gigantic butane.
Yeah.
I'm just addicted to these crack lighters, and I'm always waiting for one to blow up in my face while we're filming. That's good.
Yeah, it's a little bit of like living on the edge, you know.
Well, it's a little tight. There's no real weed taste, but there's no real. Well, there's a little bit. See what you think. Huh?
Yeah,
it's different.
It's very mild taste.
It's like kind of like a Swedish tobacco or something. So very mild.
Okay,
it's
it
just
is
slightly
already
tasty.
Starting to run a little bit, so I am gonna, call in our friend the glass tip.
Oh, good. I thought she was gonna say in the tube. I'm done smoking it.
No, gotta give it a chance.
I know. I was thinking that's kind of unfair of me to just. Yeah, it actually feels good in the lung. I kind of like it. Obviously, we can't say her name, but thank you for helping us locate this, because this is really different for both of us. Really,
it is, and it's really not a bad taste. It's just
it's not.
It's different than anything I've tasted before in a pre-roll, because it doesn't taste like hay or tea,
and it doesn't taste strongly of flour. So that's something in it.
I feel like if somebody were to ask, like, what kind of taste does this have, maybe a little bit cheesy. Yeah, I mean, I think I like it so far.
It's something in it. Yeah.
And it's not something that everybody's going to be looking for, but it's something that clearly some people are looking for. A wonderful medicinal product.
And actually, you noticed this too. I missed it. It says pure nug and keef.
Yeah,
which
so
is interesting with that
added.
Really low numbers. That's probably why it doesn't taste bad.
I feel like it's kind of amping up what was there before. Like, it's bringing it more to like my cheekbones.
I don't remember if it was you or Shelby. One of you were talking about, and now it's common knowledge about the entourage effect. That CBD is doing something with that flower. That is amping it up.
I agree.
Now, if I keep smoking this,
we might be where Walker's at. Yeah. We might just.
I don't want to be snoring on camera. That is not going to be. That is not going to be pretty at all. So let's put this back in. But thank you.
We'll have to return to that later. That's a good one.
I think so too.
So we've showed you a little bit of some cheapos. We've showed you some good middle of the road options.
Mm-hmm.
So next would obviously be to move on to infused, which I don't know if I'm quite ready to light one up yet.
No,
but we can definitely talk about the different kinds of infused.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm actually feeling that 4% THC CBD.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? That's great stuff. You learn something every day.
I'm enjoying that, man.
I am too.
Like a really unexpected little surprise. What? Little surprise.
That was a good idea.
Excuse me.
So, infused pre-rolls.
You're going to find all kinds.
Ugh.
Oh, my God. I feel like it might be easier to find bad infused pre-rolls than it even is to find bad flower pre-rolls.
Man, there are some that are literally you'll pay $10 or $12 for, and they're not smokable. I mean, they're literally not smokable. It won't smoke. So, in our generous opinion here, if they put all of it on the outside, we tried to find one because what they do is they burn like an Indiana Jones torch, and
it's called a dressed pre-roll.
Dressed, thank you very much. Yeah. That's it.
It's like the same like moon rock treatment, but to a joint. So they dress it in oil, like a concentrate, whatever distillate or full spectrum oil they put inside. They'll dress it in that, roll it in keef, so it looks all pretty or whatever. Those are usually the worst. In my opinion.
Somewhere in there they're leaving
everyone.
But most of the time they're leaving butane in there, and so they do burn like a torch.
They really do. Like you'll try to light it to get the joint just going, and all of the keef and oil on the outside will start to light up, and it will burn. It'll drip too. That's something you have to really, really watch out for on those dressed ones.
But the thing
drip
is,
oil, and it burns.
All your great stuff is on the outside, just going up in the air. Now, I will say this: we we just discovered something new to us that was amazing. So if you've got some dressed pre-rolls out there that don't do that, tell us, because we'll get them on and light them up, and
it's our job to try these.
Yeah,
things.
and we have to try them. So it's
and, with a dressed pre-roll, it's just it's a safety hazard.
Yeah, it's a safety hazard.
At
and
the end
really,
of the day,
honestly,
it's a safety hazard.
It's too much of the time. It's a disappointment. And if I walk in a place and I got
expensive.
$20 and I end up spending most of it on that, and I don't get anything or burn, I'm pissed. So yeah. So let's avoid that at all costs if we can.
Yeah. So we don't have any dressed pre-rolls for you today. We did want to find one and try it, but it was hard to find one that we felt like we were okay spending our money on.
And then we just, hey, there you go, brother. Then we just decided it's not worth spending our money on. Now, there will be a lot of that we will decide the show really needs to spend the money on something because it's really, really funny. Mm-hmm. We will definitely have those.
Yeah.
This was just a fire hazard, and we decided it was
not funny.
And it wasn't funny at all, not to us. So what do you? Okay, so you can infuse them with anything. It seems like you were saying keef, distillate, full spectrum oil, concentrates,
and kind of like we talked about last week, but with the difference between the full spectrum, distillate, live resin, stuff like that, you'll find the same differences in infused pre-rolls. Like he's saying, some of them will literally just be infused with the extra keef from the flower. Yeah, that's not infused, but
and watch out, because some of them will say infused, and if you look at it, it's going to say terp or terpene infused. That means all they did was infuse it with flavor. There's no they may do flavor and distillate or whatever, but so for instance, we pick one of these here that are distillate compared to the one we just smoked. What should we expect?
So like you said, some of them will say terpene infused. When you see that means they're adding flavor. So like the Weedsy there, that's strawberry flavored. The Blue Dream joint, those are lightly flavored with blue.
They're flavored with blue, and it makes her eyes small. That's what it did. But this one also has a distillate, right?
A distillate, yeah. Okay. So I feel like those two a lot of the time end up going hand in hand, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So distillates are gonna typically be a little bit higher in THC.
Yep.
Lower in terps. That's why they add those extra terpenes that just add flavor. Usually, distillate pre-rolls, they can be hit or miss just like anything else. But
and boy, we've had some bad ones of those too, because they'll go crazy on the flavors, and it hurts so bad to smoke. It's like an old Ruby May, sorry. They just hurt.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that a lot of the time I've noticed with flavored pre-rolls especially, but with distillate pre-rolls, it's a lot harsher. Like it hurts going down, and that kind of goes into the whole unsmokable thing.
Yeah,
it's really a thing. Sometimes they either taste so bad, they will, like, as you're smoking it, oil will just like be sent down to the filter. I don't even know how to explain it, but all the oil goes down to the filter and it will end up in your mouth. That's horrific.
So how many of those that we've had on? So this one here, although it looks like
Jolly Ranchers,
I think it's called Full Tilt. That's it. Yep, Full Tilt Company. So we try these, and we were really, really pleasantly surprised.
Very. Normally, I'm not super into the infused, like the terpene infused, and especially with distillates. I kind of talked about it last week.
In class, she does not do well with distillates.
I don't.
So we actually will say, do you think this is worth you trying? Because she might get a headache or just feel crappy from it. So, crapshoot for her.
Yeah, and so I ended up trying it. I always, proceed with caution, but I ended up trying it and it worked beautifully. I did never get a bad headache.
Nope.
It made me cough quite a bit, but it didn't like scorch my throat. It didn't feel like it was scarring my insides.
It's not a lot different than any of them that they add flavor to, I think. It's kind of like anything that they add that wasn't there before, we're going to feel, or we're going to know.
Yeah, so we are going to try one of these flavored ones for you.
Yeah, let's do that.
We're going to go for the Weedsy because we want to show you what they look like. they're a little half-gram infused guy, infused with distillate and terps and keef, I think, is
Yeah, and they do a good job letting you know right on front exactly what you're getting: flour, distillate, keef. Really small package.
Extremely tiny.
Extremely tiny. And the funny thing is I discovered this, of course, going down the road, and thought, hey, it's a good Weedsy time. These are really not just child-proof; they're human-proof.
They're fully human-proof.
You have to have either a knife or scissors. So, thank goodness the producer here was completely prepared today's episode. So we'll just cut it.
Yeah, got those scissors ready.
Got them ready. So
we gotta show you just how freaking adorable little Weedsies are, and you'll. Oh
look
yeah.
at this.
Yeah. Now I bet you look at that sucker and think, excuse me, that's really what I just paid for?
Yeah. Why am I buying this?
But just wait, you'll understand once you try it.
It's got Weedsy on the little tiny filter there. So let's go ahead and give this a whirl somewhere.
And it usually takes at least 2, maybe 3 of us to like smoke one of these and not be fully over our ceiling.
We have a really good ceiling where we know our vibe is good and we're clicking, but we're not high. And that's where we need to be. So let's kind of get rid of All right, so let's see.
And those are almost so small you need a glass tip just to extend them away from your face. I always almost light my nose on fire when I'm lighting those.
I will say.
That was a big old hit.
A, that was a big old hit. B, yours is going to be bigger because it has a glass tip. Pardon me. Now, here's the difference. Remember, this is flavored with strawberry. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. If you see anything that says strawberry, it says Dr. Pepper, which there's some bud going around in town now that's it tastes just like it apparently.
I thought that was a joke whenever I was informed about
that.
It
wasn't. So So when they add it, you feel that in there, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more rough going down. You can see the oil ring.
Woo, that's a good one though, isn't it?
You can see it smoking a lot more, too. That's the other thing with infused pre-rolls, especially distillate. They'll smoke a lot more.
They will smoke a bunch, yep. But I'm going to tell you something. This is one I'm careful with.
Yeah, and honestly, I got to say, their flavors, they've got like 5, 6 different flavors, something like that. And they do have an original one. That's the flavor name. It's just flour. There's no terps added.
Yeah.
It's still infused with distillate, but just no flavor.
That's my favorite.
Me too.
Yeah.
They're all kind of vary on how potent the flavor is, but I gotta say the strawberry one and the green apple are my 2 favorites because they have usually the least amount of flavor added.
That's
like
true.
This tastes a little sweet, but I would never really pick out that it was terp infused.
No. There's some of them. It's right in your face.
It's potent.
And honestly, yeah, I cough a little bit. I'm actually
good on that.
I am really buzzed from that.
I think that's a safe bet. I mean, especially if we're gonna have to show the people this dose joint that's
which is the granddaddy
Rose Petal rolled.
The best one of the lot. It looks like something we laughed at. We just thought that was gonna be a joke. It is really something.
Yeah, I think the first time I ever tried a Weedsy, we were considering buying them. We didn't have them in the store yet.
Yep.
And it was Cowboy Cup 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were actually just across like the room from the Weedsy stand where they had their stuff set up. And boss went over, got a few samples, got their information, and we're like, you guys try these. Let me know what you think. And if you like them, we're going to get them in the store. I was like, ew, they're flavored. And then I cut open the package at Cowboy Cup, and it was minuscule. That is the best way to describe those joints. Minuscule. It's smaller than a dog walker.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think, that's a waste of my money. What the hell? But we tried it, and they were really good. And we have carried them in our store ever since.
And it's funny. We hear that so often. Just try this. Just try this. Okay, that one really came through.
It did.
And it's very hard to keep. I mean, they're gone in a second.
Yeah, Yeah, we
So if
get
you
an
do see
order.
original, try to get one.
Yeah.
You know, because they're and you'll see them around. They're those are handmade over, I think, in Tulsa. So, but it's a
they're
great
made
product.
by Country Cannabis.
Country Cannabis, yeah, and I like their big ones, the big gram ones, but not near as much as I like the Weedsies.
I'm feeling toasty from that Weedsy.
I'm cooking.
I'm
so
feeling really good. So, we discussed a little bit about what we're smoking about today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Steven sent me an email yesterday, I think,
Mm-hmm.
that was an article of our dumbass governor being a butthole. But just talking about how his wording was, anybody with a hangnail shouldn't be able to get their medical card. Most medical states that are also rec have a lot of stipulations on what conditions qualify
tight.
for medical.
Pretty tight, yeah.
But typically in a medical only state, the restrictions are far less, which I think is good and bad. There's pros and cons to all of that. But something I think about a lot is how much all of these things help me every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Like Steven and I will talk about it, I'm sure, every single episode, and you'll probably tell us to shut up eventually.
Yeah, you're welcome
how
to do
bad
so,
our
of course.
stomachs are.
Yeah, we got bad tummies.
I'm always nauseous for various different reasons.
Probably from hanging with me, but
yeah, probably just getting sick. And this cannabis is pretty much the only thing that has truly been able to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
And you go and tell a doctor that's got all these stipulations in their mind about what will go and what won't. You tell them, I get tummy aches a lot and nothing else works. And they're going to say, okay, go home. Go tell your mommy. But it is debilitating. It is, if you understand, then if you know, you know. Like, it has been a debilitating issue my entire life. And with this, I can know what terpenes to look for.
Mm-hmm.
Say if I have a stomach ache or if I've got really bad anxiety that day, I can find the little things to look for to help with that. But I feel like somebody that's wanting to be skeptical about it is not going to want to listen to that. They're going to say, oh, well, if you're not dealing with a terminal illness or chronic illness, then there's you shouldn't have access to it. But it has improved my life in so many ways. I feel like I don't have any options. Believe in it.
I don't have any options to take any medication,
Mm-hmm.
and boy, that narrowed it down a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And like most people, I kind of started on gummies because thought that would be easier to control. But you find if you go to a good place that you trust the people, you can actually find something that works.
Mm-hmm.
The ability now for me to be able to decide what I connect to and what I don't is this. I mean, I'm just calmer, unless it's vitamin V.
Well,
but I agree with you on that. And that article bothered me because you and I are lucky enough to see a lot of people every day that it changed how they live, and we watch them. A lot of them, they'll actually start looking at us or making eye contact or talking to us, and you see people getting better.
And those are the changes that you can't explain to somebody who doesn't see it.
Right. You
can, but they won't understand.
And it's naturally people are going to be skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it.
I always think about how I was when I started,
Mm-hmm.
coming into the store. And I was one of those people. He said we see so many people every day that we've been seeing, fairly consistently over the past couple of years. And they started out barely able to make eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, I was that person too. But it's all about the people that are willing to help you and willing to help you find the thing that's going to help with that.
Yeah.
It's the environment and the benefit of the product.
I guess that for me is why it was important to us to start this thing, because not all of us are lucky enough to have a good place around us, a good dispensary to go to that people even give a crap. So I think you're right. I'm kind of hoping that some of this does that too. Let us know too, because we really deal with a lot of folks that have different problems.
Mm-hmm.
For both of us, it's several. You know,
Yeah.
and luckily, we have found ways not to like throw up on each other.
Yeah,
yeah,
not
complete
throwing up
bonus.
on one another. And I mean, last night at work, I talked about how hard it was. I was exhausted, but my back was hurting so bad.
Yeah.
I was near tears multiple times. I was able to put on a patch. It helped. Put on some pain gel and keep working. And like, it made a world of a difference. Even small things like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, if we condemn something before we know anything about it, we're not going to learn.
No.
How many folks really even knew that there were patches that you put on that break the water barrier, that last for hours, and actually do what you wanted it to do? That's pretty amazing. I mean,
yeah.
The monthly cramp one's a good example. There's just so many things that they don't have any idea, but they are afraid to look.
Yeah.
So, and I get it. So hopefully this will help.
Yes.
Or they may just say, I don't want to end up like them at all. I don't want to.
No, that's fair too. But you probably
Oh,
suck.
no, we get it. We do. Okay.
Is it time for the dose?
It is. All right. So.
And this isn't just any dose.
No.
It's a special one.
So the member with gummies last week, she needed to have full spectrum because distillates just don't sit well. So full spectrum, the whole plant. This is dose. They make one of the absolute best vape carts because they make a full spectrum cannabis oil from this flower, which happens to be Love Potion number 9. It is a great flower to start with. So they infuse the oil with that, and when you generally look at a dose, when you'll see it just being dark, uniform, it's beautiful. There's nothing on the outside to make it blow up or.
Yeah, it's not gonna light up your face hairs.
So we're looking at numbers, right? So we're talking about, we're not huge believers if you're buying flower that highest THC means a damn thing, but it's a whole different ballgame when you're talking about infused pre-rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking at ones that are in the 40s, 50s, in
sometimes
THC.
60s.
Sometimes 60s. And terps that are good because it's the oil from the plant, right?
Yeah.
But I'd really like for you to describe this because you're going to do such a better job. But if you look at this one, there's a line that says Premium Rose Petal Joint. Now a Rose Petal joint, that
just sounds luxurious.
It sounds luxurious. So I'm going to let you, because you're going to be way better at this than I am. I guarantee it.
Man, we just did not even know what to think when we got these in.
Boy, I'm going to tell you this up front.
Tale of caution.
Yes, they do light differently, for sure.
A little bit difficult.
They're difficult because of the rose petals. Now, I did actually have one during a relight where it started on fire, and it flew in the back seat on fire. So I shouldn't tell those probably, but we do need to take those hazards for you.
Yeah, you have to like really take your time lighting it, like a blunt or a cigar.
Cigar, yeah.
But
Probably
I've been lighting this thing for so long.
Yeah. It is disconcerting.
It's almost annoying how slow it burns.
And the funny thing is, if it's a normal dose, we would already have had 3 hits. It's the rose petal just lights differently. So, but you can get it with or without. But this is kind of rare.
Good God. I'm gonna have to cut out like 10 minutes of me lighting this stupid joint.
We're gonna have to cut all that out. But do you have the torch?
Right.
That's what we need. We gotta have that torch. I promise you, they usually burn a lot better. And all of their non-rose petal.
This is a bad example.
It is a bad example because this is our go-to, our number one, absolutely love one. So, man, it's just great flower, though. The thing about these, if you're going to look at all the different infused pre-rolls we talked about today, that full spectrum, they don't add anything. So they're so much smoother than any highly infused pre-roll I've ever had. Maybe the rose ones aside, because you get to smoke some of that rose petal. But they're ones that generally take, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 of us to finish. And
Scooby Snack.
And they're good pre-rolls. So I do like that flower. If you ever come in and see us wherever we are, if you ask us, we're going to be able to tell you about flowers, what they do for us, what we think of them. But once you get to about the 4th or 5th flower in a row, it's a little hard to judge it on its own merits. But I can tell you, even on its own merits, I can feel that dose hitting on top of all of this.
It's putting the icing on the cake.
Oh, my God.
It's putting the lotion on the skin.
Boom. I like that one. I hadn't thought about that one. I may steal that.
I think I'm pretty solid on that.
I'm done. I'm done.
I'm Gucci. I am sufficiently stony
toasted
right now.
I'm toasted. So what I'm hoping is that you have something you like, let us know. And if we're just too stoned for the show, then, let us. But I think that's impossible.
And you know what? I would like to say, you might be thinking, you guys are trying all these different kinds of pre-rolls, but where's the cavi cone?
Oh, dang, good point. I forgot.
Okay, for one, get real. Smoke something that's not going to kill you. I'm just kidding. Cavi cones are fine, but those suckers sit at like 200 to like 600% THC.
But it was so purely distillate because with this, for instance, with this one, this is a distillate, but it hit hard at first, but I still felt it later.
Mm-hmm.
That distillate with the cavi for me hit incredibly hard at first and was gone in 15 minutes.
Yeah. We're aware. We're aware. Don't hate on us for not having a cavi cone, because God knows people are always harassing us about cavi cones, but it is just not my taste.
And it's not
my taste.
But
and that high of THC, that gets into like scary levels. Like talk about cannabis induced sickness.
Yeah,
because that's something that we'll probably have to make an episode on in the future about like the risks of constant high dosing and extreme concentration.
And it's something too I think we do need to talk about when we start talking about some of these high dose edibles and so on, because honestly it's something you need to be aware of it. And
a lot of people don't realize that it can actually harm you if you go overboard, just like anything else.
Or your animals as well too. You can't leave that stuff out because it's really bad for them.
Yeah. So we'll probably be doing an episode on like, safety and stuff like that.
I just like derailed off that cavi. Sorry about that, but it is a good point.
No,
it really
that's
is.
why I brought it up, because the extreme high testing is like you cannot be smoking that all the time.
No, but and you do need to, because the high goes away fast. Yeah, we get it, and cavi lovers convince us we're wrong. That's cool too,
But tolerance breaks are important.
Yes.
Especially if you're doing super high concentration of THC all the time. But again, that's something we'll get into later.
When it becomes necessary. I don't want to do it now.
Oh, no. That's not it right now.
I really enjoyed this today. This was a lot of fun. Got to try some good ones and some crazy ones. So.
I would say I'm sufficiently like there.
Yeah, me too. Or there. Holler at us, seriously. Tell us what you think. Support us. Yell at us. But we hope we're making it good. Give us some ideas that you want us to talk about too. I had fun.
I had fun too. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
We're here to have fun.
Smoking and joking. That's it.
Hey. Yeah, like he said, let us know what you want to see and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Later.
See ya. Thanks for joining our time travel this week. If you have any questions, comments, or requests, you can reach us on Instagram and Twitter at SNJPodShow, email us at smokinandjokinpodshow@gmail.com, or watch our videos and exclusive content on YouTube and WeedTube at Smokin' and Jokin' Pod Show. As always, details on featured products and links to our social media will be in the description. Everyone stay cool, stay medicated, and we'll see you next week on Smokin' and Jokin'.
Welcome to LA, brother.
What if he liked it and flew in your mouth?